Some have said that war is merely an extension of policy by other means, while others have said that war is hell. However, to a tactical intelligence analyst, war is only ordered chaos, where outcomes are predicated upon very fixed and ordered rules to predict success or failure in battle. And fortune favors the bold. Hello, my name is Major Mike Webb, and for about 2 decades, I had served in the military with a primary focus on force projection, or the process of deploying assets to accomplish defined military objectives, as well as force protection, or ensuring the safety and survival of battlefield assets, to include soldiers and equipment. It may come as a surprise to some that despite the increased power and lethality of modern weaponry in warfare, the probability of becoming a fatality or casualty in a war has actually significantly diminished on the modern battlefield, in part due to a change of battlefield tactics and in part due to the development of tactics, techniques, and procedures that are based upon empirical observations and designed to protect soldiers to ensure the survivability of one of our most important battlefield assets. For instance, in the Civil War, a soldier had a 43% chance of being injured or killed in battle. This is back in the days when we had volleys as the primary means of battle, simply shooting bullets and praying that they hit somebody. But on the modern battlefield, the risk has been reduced to just 2%, divided pretty equally regarding risk of being sent home in a body bag to Dover Air Force Base or being awarded a Purple Heart. However, on the trail of a pandemic in which some have been convinced that the novel coronavirus had found origins in a laboratory, and with military threats of war and conflict in Eastern Europe, for the next few moments we are going to provide a little basic training instruction. Military training for which over 75% of age-eligible Americans are unqualified to begin, and for which only less than 1% of those eligible are even inclined to do so. In basic training, while an initial entry soldier may not comprehend the method to the madness, during the initial phases of instruction for individual tactics and training to equip a soldier to be a lean, mean fighting machine, the soldier becomes familiar with and gains proficiency in the employment of basic battlefield systems, such as qualification on the M16A2 rifle, the primary weapon of an infantry soldier, with the ability to engage point targets out to 550 meters. But also a soldier will become familiar with the use of a fragmentary grenade, which has the ability to engage area targets with an effective kill radius of 15 meters, which comes in most useful use in clearing a bunker. And a soldier will be instructed on how to deploy a claymore mine, which has a primary utility as a means of providing a security perimeter. Soldiers will also become proficient in the employment of the HE-4 light anti-tank weapon, or LAW, which are most effective in engaging armored vehicles like tanks. Hence, each one of these weapon systems has a unique function, and for the soldier who is capable of understanding their doctrinal uses, he becomes a more effective and efficient asset on the battlefield for achieving the military objectives and completing the mission. In later phases of basic training, soldiers will advance to squad-level tactics and training, which overlaps the individual instruction with an overlay to enable those individual soldiers to become more effective while operating as a fire team and squad, generally supplemented in training in the use of the SAW, a belt-fed machine gun, which can fire 200 rounds per minute and engage a point target out to 800 meters, and with an effective range of 1,000 meters, most useful in suppressive grazing fire. Again, each battle system is designed to achieve a certain objective or provide a specific advantage while conducting military operations. This is a part of what generally is termed as a combined arms concept of battle. And so, in a modern military in which battle-focused training has become more efficient in the employment of weapon systems to enable soldiers to be more effective at completing the mission, it would not be reasonable to presume that the overall doctrine might be altered when it comes to the employment of weapons of mass destruction to include biological, chemical, and nuclear agents, but rather these unique munitions have their own unique capabilities and advantages and are aligned with specific missions to achieve specific objectives. Contrary to popular belief, the goal of weapons of mass destruction is not simply to produce mass casualties and reckless abandon, but rather the employment of these munitions has a method to its madness. And during the height of the arms race during the Cold War, many became familiar with the MAD doctrine, or Mutually Assured Destruction Doctrine, that had provided a deterrent effect on the rationale that a nation would not deploy a nuclear weapon if it believed that its use would present a tantamount risk to itself. It only makes sense. And this understanding becomes most useful when considering biological agents and their development. It simply would not make sense to develop a biological agent that might, in collateral damage, pose a risk of lethality to yourself. And generally, in modern warfare, biological agents like anthrax, which are not communicable diseases, requiring far too large an infectious dose to transmit an infection between persons, have been utilized. And since a virus cannot replicate without a living host, this characteristic provides an advantage of control to prevent a deployed biological agent from taking on a destructive path all of its own, which would defeat any advantage in their employment. Command and control, very, very important components in military operations. This briefing is unclassified, as you were. My name is Major Mike Webb, and by God, I am running for U.S. Congress. Next year, do the right thing, and we shall make America great again. Honest. Carry on. This advertisement was authorized by Mike Webb.